Have you ever looked at a digital avatar and felt something just quietly unsettling that you couldn't quite put your finger on? You know the feeling. The eyes look right, the face moves naturally, and yet something about it just feels wrong in a way your conscious mind can't even articulate. Well, that reaction actually has a name. It's called the uncanny valley, and it sits right at the center of one of the absolute hardest problems in AI avatar design. Because here's the thing, an avatar that gets close to human but doesn't quite make it, it doesn't read as impressive. It reads as quietly unsettling.
So let's dive into this. The real reason most avatars fail to cross that gap isn't just a lack of technical skill. It's because great avatar design is not purely a science problem, and it's not purely a creative problem. It requires both of them working together very deliberately. If you get the neural networks right without the emotional design, you build something that's technically impressive but completely lifeless. But if you get the personality right without the technical grounding, the whole thing falls apart. In this explainer, we're going to explore exactly how genuinely lifelike AI avatars are built from both sides. We'll cover the data and machine learning foundation, the emotional design choices, the real ethical questions nobody can afford to ignore, real-world case studies, and exactly who you need to hire if you want to build one yourself. And by the way, I've written a complete, full written guide covering every detail we talk about today, complete with a full FAQ on cost, ownership, and team structure. That link is right down in the description.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the data foundation. Then, emotional design and trust. Third, real ethical dilemmas. Fourth, science and soul applied. And finally, hiring your avatar team.
Section 1. Data Foundation and Learning. This is where we get into the hard science side of the equation.
Every AI avatar begins its life as data, and we're talking about an enormous amount of it. Developers train these algorithms on massive data sets of human faces, human movement, and human voices. Generative adversarial networks and natural language processing systems literally sift through all that raw material to find hidden patterns, simulating human-like behavior on the other side. Just to put this scale into perspective, one well-known text-to-speech system was trained on over 30,000 hours of recorded voice. 30,000 hours! That is not a small data set. But that exact scale is what makes the resulting speech feel genuinely organic and expressive, rather than robotic. It's the literal difference between a machine just reading words off a screen and a voice actually speaking to you. But here's the catch. Raw data alone only makes a static avatar. Modern tools have to go much further. They use reinforcement learning and sentiment analysis to adapt dynamically to the user. A truly well-built avatar can detect a user's emotional tone in real time. It can mirror natural body language, like leaning in during a really engaged conversation. And it can gradually learn and adapt to an individual user's preferences the longer that interaction continues. What's really incredible is just how accessible these tools have become lately. Open-source 3D modeling software, when enhanced with AI plugins, can now automate rigging that used to take specialists days to finish. Purpose-built engines can generate lifelike avatars in minutes, and dedicated voice cloning platforms let creators build genuinely unique synthetic voices from scratch. You can actually find a complete technical breakdown of these specific tools in the full written guide linked in the description below. Which brings us to Section 2, Emotional Design and Trust. This is where we pivot to the soul side of avatar design. And I'll be honest, this is genuinely harder than the technical side in many ways, because it is incredibly easy to make an avatar smile, but it's much harder to make that smile feel real. Creating a convincingly real smile or conveying genuine authenticity through micro-expressions requires immense deliberate effort, and the stakes are high. Research from the MIT Media Lab found that exactly 68% of users prefer avatars that resemble their own demographic. That isn't just a minor preference, that is one of the strongest design signals available. It proves absolutely that a one-size-fits-all avatar leaves genuine connection on the table. Trust is built through very specific, researchable design choices. It's not just some vague, magical charisma. Look at how voice tone directly shapes user perception. Higher tones are almost universally read as friendlier, while lower tones are read as more authoritative. These auditory design choices directly dictate a user's perception of the avatar and build the very foundation of trust. So let's break down the deeper intricacies of soul design. We are looking at subtle micro-expressions for true authenticity. We're looking at cultural communication nuances, where a hand gesture that works perfectly for one audience might feel completely wrong or even offensive to another. We also have to navigate genuinely difficult ethical boundaries, like the ethics of mimicking the deceased and answering incredibly complex digital likeness ownership questions. And on a practical level, adding personalization settings meaningfully increases trust. A great example of this is one AI companion app built specifically around emotionally aware dialogue.
It helps users feel genuinely seen and understood through its conversational design, rather than relying on just visual realism alone.
If you want to master this half of the equation, there is a full breakdown of these emotional design principles and trust-building techniques in the full written guide, linked in the description below.
Section 3. Real Ethical Dilemmas. And I want to shift gears here because this is incredibly serious. This is what separates responsible creators from careless ones.
We have to address the real-world consequences of this technology. There are 3 critical risks we must navigate. First, deepfake misuse and impersonation. We must strictly navigate the line between a helpful customer service avatar and dangerous deepfake misuse. Second, bias in training data demographics. If the data skews narrow, the resulting avatar produces an unfair representation, which has real human consequences. And third, the mental health impacts of idealized avatars. Flawless, aspirational avatars can negatively affect how viewers see themselves, which is a genuinely under-discussed mental health dimension we have a responsibility to address.
Now, none of this means AI avatars are inherently harmful, but as this quote brilliantly states, the most respected avatar projects build ethical review into their process, the same way they build in technical quality control. That means ethical review must be integrated from the very beginning of the design process. It cannot be an afterthought that you only address if something goes wrong publicly.
Section 4. Science and Soul Applied. Let's look at how this delicate balance actually works in the real world.
I want to introduce 2 genuinely different case studies. First, let's look at virtual influencers. For them, it's all about authenticity in character development and deep storytelling to maintain ongoing digital relationships. A perfectly rendered face with 0 personality completely fails here. On the flip side, look at enterprise customer service avatars. They need absolute reliability, consistency, and empathetic communication to handle de-escalation at genuine scale, often under pressure.
What's so fascinating is that these 2 case studies prove our underlying principle from completely different directions. Neither pure technical polish nor pure personality alone works. It is always the combination, calibrated differently based on the specific goal. You need both.
Section 5. Hiring your avatar team. Let's get into some actionable advice for those of you looking to actually build one. If you want a high-quality AI avatar, you can't just hire a single generalist. It genuinely requires collaboration between distinct specialists. We call this the 3-specialist framework. You need a 3D artist to build anatomically accurate and expressive models. You need a machine learning engineer to build the adaptive behavioral systems underneath. And as we just discussed, you need an ethics consultant to ensure social responsibility and mitigate bias from day one.
Now, when we talk about cost, the range is vast. We are talking anywhere from $2,000 to well over $100,000. Simple chatbot avatars run around $2,000, while enterprise-level cinematic avatars with full facial rigging, voice cloning, and adaptive behavior systems can easily exceed $100,000.
But before you panic about those enterprise budgets, remember that specialized freelance platforms offer a genuinely accessible middle ground. Actually, there is a fantastic specialist on Fiverr who clones a character and generates highly realistic AI content built around your own likeness or brand persona. If you have a concept and want an avatar built without going through the hassle of assembling a full internal team, they are an incredibly accessible and realistic option to look into.
Before we wrap up, we have to talk about the future, because it is wild. We are moving beyond flat screens entirely and into holographic 3D interaction across distances. We're going to see emotion-aware biometric reaction systems that actually respond to your real physical signals. And we're moving toward decentralized identity technology, meaning you will have full ownership of your avatar rather than a giant platform holding the keys.
So here is the one action I want you to take right now. Write down one clear sentence describing exactly what you want your AI avatar to accomplish. Just one sentence. That purpose will completely determine your specific balance of science and soul. And remember, the full written guide covering absolutely everything in this explainer, the tools, the ethical framework, the cost FAQ, is linked right down in the description. Also, if you want to use that Fiverr specialist to affordably build your avatar concept into reality, I've put their link down in the description as well.
If this explainer gave you a genuinely clearer picture of what actually goes into building an AI avatar that feels real, please hit that like button right now and subscribe so you never miss an explainer on AI, design, and digital creativity. And finally, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below answering this question. If you built your own AI avatar right now, what would you want it to be able to do? I read every single comment and I will personally reply to you.
Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.